I bumped into a friend on a walk that I hadn't seen in a while, so we were like catching up. But she shared something that I wanted to share because it's really interesting. So part of like healing and going to therapy and like working out your issues and understanding why you do certain things, why you have certain habits, why you have certain relationships, what those habits are, seeing them clearly, how they affect you, and then it changes your relationships because naturally you're unlearning things that were unhealthy coping mechanisms that got you as far as you could go with them. And now with new understanding, new awarenesses, new vocabulary, new desires, you can reframe what you want for yourself. And a lot of times that unfortunately involves people leaving your life, because the reasons you may have had these relationships or held on to them, the more you heal, the more untenable they become. So it's either this has to evolve or I have to let it go from my life. And there are some people who can grow with you or you can have honest and open conversations with, and there's some people you can't. There's some people who are in no way are ready to take responsibility for their own actions. They're not trying to heal, and nor should you insist that they should have to, but you're allowed to, with boundaries and healthy sense of self, say this no longer works for me, and seek better, more harmonious ways to live, more harmonious relationships, things like that. And unfortunately a lot of people don't take that well because they want to stay in the energy they're in. They're looking at you like, well, you're the one that's changed, nothing's changed for me. And a lot of times they'll make you, it's like the whipping boy, you know, like they will try to make you feel bad or be like, she turned funny. You know what's funny is I saw that Kardashians clip where like, I don't know their names, Courtney, I think it is growing and trying to change, and her family doesn't align with the new values she has, and they're trying to make her seem like the black sheep and then bully her further. And sometimes that happens, right? Because you're now setting a standard that other people either envy, they're annoyed by, or they don't want you to have, because how dare you want more for yourself? And they don't get to decide what's important to you or what your life should look like. But so again, with certain relationships, you have to decide, is it worth the effort and trying, or is it not? And for some people, it's not. Some people, they're never going to change. They're not going to put the effort in. And it doesn't mean you wish them ill. You want them to have what they want, just like you want to have what you want. But you're now not attached to anything where you're like, best of luck. You know, I really wish you the best. But she said her brother gave her advice where it was someone had broken a relationship with them and said, and I will not be here to process this with you. And that is such a powerful thing, because we have like tendencies toward codependency in society and our dynamics and our relationships, and we don't even realize it a lot of the times, and how unhealthy codependency is. But and a lot of times we want to mend relationship, but we want the other person. It's almost like we want a resolution sometimes. And sometimes we want it quicker, right? Because it's uncomfortable, or you really want to keep this person in your life, but they don't want to exist in the way that you're existing. So it becomes, again, untenable. You can't continue it. You can't go on that way. And it's perfectly appropriate and all right to not do labor with and for them, or to process or digest with and for them. And a lot of times in romantic relationships, we get messy in that way because there's some sort of it feels like mutual responsibility. And so we sort of stay entangled, or at least maybe not everyone, right? I had one of these things with certain people. It's like, it's hard to sort of detach because you care about them and there's all this history. And then again, there's that mutual thing, something's being broken you put a lot of effort in together, and there's like a death period there before it fully separates out. But you are not actually responsible for that person's processing. And for some people, it's like very clear, like it wouldn't make a difference if you did participate in their processing, because if you give them the reason, they may not accept it. Sometimes they know the reason and they still don't want to work with it. Sometimes nothing will change anyway. That's what I mean. Like sometimes you have to have discernment, like, is this person aware and safe enough for me to bother going through the process of trying to work on this relationship or detangle something? Is there enough there to salvage? Do you consent still to the relationship? When you're engaging with this person, are you leaving them either feeling neutral or positive? Because if it's not neutral or positive, then why continue, basically? But we don't owe that processing to each other. It's like messiness, right? Like you're feeling bad and you want the other person to feel bad, or to explain it or make you feel better, or make it right in some way. But sometimes it's not going to be right, and sometimes it could be totally justified and still be hurtful or painful. So it's like not needing things to be right and accepting that they are whatever they are, and we process however we process, and that does not have to require the other person, and most times it will not, because those people don't want to heal. So that was just, it was just good to hear, because a lot of times it is that, you know, you go to therapy because of the people in your life who are not going to therapy, to learn things that the people in your life haven't learned or don't know how to teach you. So, I mean, keep up the good work if you're doing it. It's challenging, but the takeaway that she said, and I went through something similar, where it's like you feel lighter in the end because you're not trying to make a round and a square fit, around a square peg in a round hole. You're not trying to fit it anymore, and that frustration is alleviated. And once you've made peace with your feelings, you're able to make that space in your life for yourself or for better, instead of it being continually engaged in conflict. And I'm just not willing to do that anymore. Why should I give up my peace so that you can have your conflict? I refuse to. And that is okay. That is okay.